Good afternoon, colleagues. This is a video about leadership and specifically looking at professional development. And I'm wanting to ask the question, is your professional development leverageable? Is your professional development leverageable? By that I mean, can you put in a kind of minimum input from a leadership point of view and get a huge amount back from that, from your staff being engaged, from the children being really engaged, and having maximum input from what you have invested into your professional development? So just to reflect a little bit on that, there's kind of a scale moving towards this, I think. And as I've been investigating into leadership and professional learning and developing professional learning in and with schools, I've been noticing that there's a kind of continuum to move towards this. So on one hand, there's kind of old school professional learning that would traditionally come from leadership up. So it would be kind of a decision made by leadership, perhaps linked to their school's vision and values. And from that, a big speaker would be invited in to lead the professional learning day in their school, perhaps at the beginning of the year, perhaps partway through the year. So it'd be like a big bang and a big bit of excitement from someone inspiring. But what would follow through with that is kind of sometimes it's difficult to put into place the inspiring ideas and actions from that thought leader. So, and alongside that, often teachers don't have much agency in that. I'm sure you can reflect on a time when you've had professional learning brought into your school as a leader or as a teacher, and you've sat there kind of wondering how this fits together and what this means for you, and when were you perhaps asked about what you wanted for your professional development. Now, there are several problems with this. One being that without that teacher agency, it's the same with the children. If they don't fully understand the why, if they haven't been involved in the process, if it's not a whole team vision and values, then sometimes that can fall flat, because ultimately it's the teachers in classrooms that are going to put that vision into action. So on the other end of this scale, you can have a leverageable professional learning experience. This can still be within a vision of values and vision and values of the school, ideally that's been co-created with the school learning community, so everyone has a voice within that, and also is developed over time. So this model of professional learning builds on John Hattie's research into collective efficacy. So just a whistle-stop tour of that. In John Hattie's meta-research, he found that the most impactful thing in the classroom is the teacher, and teachers can be most impactful if they are part of a process of collective efficacy. Collective efficacy is developed through learning drip-fed content over time, so not a once-off, over time, having time to reflect on, collaborate and converse about implementing that content, reflecting with your school teams, within your school and without, like collectively with people across the globe. That's collective efficacy. So this leverageable professional learning has might be within a framework, but also has teacher agency built into it. So teachers will get to decide and tap into their desires as a teacher, how they'd like to develop as a teacher, and link that to the school's vision and values, and over time develop that and drive that. So the advantage of this model is, like I've already mentioned, teachers can then drive that. So they've got the buy-in, they've got the agency, they can grapple with other teachers within their learning organisation. So this moves from a top-down model to a more distributed leadership, which is more like kind of bubbles of learning and focus. Now, some schools I've worked with that use this model may have 2 to 3 areas of focus. So let's take, for example, some of the real vision and values that are built into Learning Pioneers and Press Play, the 2 learning communities that I am co-hosting and facilitating. They might have a vision to bring play throughout primary. They might have a vision to develop the learning power approach. They often have a vision to develop oracy within their settings. They often have well-being at the very heart of what they're doing and see that as a really important thing to develop with their staff, and their staff have had buy-in into that process. So teachers may then have the agency to choose, I'm going to spend more time, I really want to develop the well-being in my classroom and focus on that, and they can collaborate with other teachers across their organisation to do that. Or they might want to think about developing really meaningful student-led learning environments that really enhance and deepen learning, and they can connect with other teachers within their organisation and without that do that. So I'm interested. Is your professional development in your school leverageable? Where on that scale do you feel your school is? Do you feel like it's very top down and decided by leadership and you don't really have much agency and it's kind of then loses its momentum over time? Or do you feel like your school has a setup that's teacher-driven, agency-driven within a framework, and every single person in your organisation is excited to learn, driving research and learning forwards, and really at the leading edge of their learning? So do share in the chat below. I'll also share the link to Learning Pioneers so you can check out our philosophy and how we go about that. And excitingly, we have a new mini mastermind in Learning Pioneers. This is the real essence of where the drive for learning comes from. We'll meet every week in this mastermind, and it's for leaders to really bring their visions to success with their teams. And one of the aspects we'll look at is how to develop this culture for learning so that teachers are the drivers of their learning and driving the school's vision and value forwards. Can't wait to hear what you've got to say. Bye.